There are times that you can beckon. There are times when you must call. You can take a lot of reckoning, but you can't take it all. There are times when I can help you out, and times that you must fall. There are times when you must live in doubt, and I can't help it all. Three blue stars rise on the hill. Say no more, now just be still. All these trials soon be past. Look for something built to last. Wind held by the collar, yes, a cloud held by the breeze. You can walk on coals of fire, but sometimes you must freeze. There are times when you offend me, and I do the same to you. If we can't or won't forget it, I guess we could be through. One blue star sets on the hill. Call it back, you never will. One more star sinks in the past. Show me something built to last. Built to last till time itself falls tumbling from the wall. Built to last till sunshine fails and darkness moves on all. Built to last while years roll past like cloudscapes in the sky. Show me something built to last or something built to try. There are times when you get hit upon, try hard but you cannot give. Other times you'd gladly part with what you need to live. Don't waste the breath to save your face when you have done your best, and even more is asked of you. Let fate decide the rest. All the stars are gone but one. Morning breaks, here comes the sun. Cross the sky, now sinking fast. Show me something built to last. Three blue stars rise on the hill. Sing no more, now just be still. All these trials soon be past. Look for something built to last. One blue star sets on the hill. Call it back, you never will. One more star sinks in the past. Show me something built to last. All the stars are gone but one. Morning breaks, here comes the sun. Cross the sky, now sinking fast. Show me something built to last. Words by Robert Hunter, music by Jerry Garcia. You didn't hear the music, you heard the words. We are tuned in to Fitness and Consciousness. Up until a couple minutes ago, I was going to call this show Foolish Heart. I'm going to read this one and then I'll start digging into my mind. Carve your name in ice and wind. Search for where the rivers end or where the rivers start. Do everything that's in you that you feel to be your part, but never give your love, my friend, unto a foolish heart. Leap from ledges high and wild. Learn to speak with wisdom like a child, directly from the heart. Crown yourself the king of clowns, or stand way back apart, but never give your love, my friend, unto a foolish heart. Shun a friend, shun a brother and a friend. Never look around the bend, or check a weather chart. Sign the Mona Lisa with a spray can, call it art, but never give your love, my friend, unto a foolish heart. A foolish heart will call on you to toss your dreams away, then turn around and blame you for the way you went astray. A foolish heart will cost you sleep and often make you curse. A selfish heart is trouble, but a foolish heart is worse. Bite the hand that bakes you bread. Dare to leap where the angels fear to tread, till you are torn apart. Stoke the fires of paradise with coals from hell to start, but never give your love, my friend, unto a foolish heart. Unto a foolish heart. Words by Robert Hunter, Music by Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, if you didn't know. So this show, did I say a little bit ago? I'm going to call it either Built to Last or Foolish Heart. I haven't decided. Maybe both. Who knows? So what am I talking about? Well, if you heard a couple shows ago, I did a show on Father's Day, and just briefly, I was talking about my kids and my son's mom and how hard of a time she gave me, and I hadn't seen her my son is 18, and without digging too into that, it's been years since I've seen him. I send him messages regularly. He actually called me for just a brief moment the other day, and I'm not going to get into it again, but so I was talking about her on the air. Most of it was not exactly good stuff, but it was all true. And it was funny. I was with a buddy of mine. We went to a concert. We went out to the woods and stuff yesterday, and then we ended up meeting again a little bit later, get something to eat, and then went to a concert at the Vogue in Indianapolis here. The Billy Strings concert, which, by the way, he's awesome. He's like a bluegrass player, amazing guitar player, but also gets into like some more kind of like psychedelic kinds of stuff. So it's like he'll start out playing, oh, here's a traditional bluegrass song, and then next thing you know, it's like in this almost like psychedelic kind of freak out thing. It's high level playing, high level playing. You had a banjo player, mandolin, and upright bass. That was it. Very, very cool. But anyways, so me and my buddy, sometimes I got to like think, do I want to mention people's names because like how much I want to relate. It's not a big deal, his part, but let me think. It doesn't matter. I was with my buddy Joey, and so we go to this concert, and we're walking up. I already had the tickets, and so as we're turning like from like Broad Ripple Avenue down College Avenue, walking, and the Vogue is right there, and so we're walking past the entrance to the end of the line. There's a really long line. It was cool to see a long line at a show like this, and then I hear him go, "Oh, hey." And I turn around, and he started talking to this girl he knew. And so I walk back the few steps to where he was. And I mean, we were right together anyway. And guess who she was with? My son's mom. What? And she's like, surprised to see me is an understatement. So it's been several years since I've seen her. 5 maybe, I don't even know. And we've like we've texted some, but so it was like this, it's kind of surreal for a minute. And she like gave me a high five and then a hug, and then she's like, Ryan Hadley, and then she's like telling her friend, she's like, that's Ryan. And it was like this kind of excited, like shocked, excited kind of thing. Surreal. And so we kind of like cut the line. We were talking to them for a minute. And so I'm not going to dwell on her, but like with what she did, like with like keeping my son from me for, it was like she's by far like the worst. What do I want to say? Okay, this helps put it in perspective. So she is like by far the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So not my son's like tied with best. I have a daughter, I have a son. It doesn't get any more awesome than that. But what she did, nobody else compares to like what she did. And it all has to do with like her keeping my son from me, telling him lies and stuff, and not going to dwell on that too much. So what happens, but now remember what I just said a minute ago? So we see each other and it was surreal, and give me a high five and a hug, and it's like this like kind of, I mean, I keep saying surreal. Maybe if I say it like a million times, you would kind of start to understand how surreal it was. But I'll try to leave it at that many. And so we're talking, and it's like, oh, I keep trying to get hold of him. Did you know he called me for just a brief moment? And she's like, no, I didn't know that. And so we kind of get to talking for a minute, and it started. I could tell like we were starting to get into something deep, and I was like, can we just have fun tonight, and then maybe we can meet and talk a different day? And she said yes. I'm like, cool. So since my buddy is like kind of friends with the girl she was with and whatever else, this other scenario going on, we stayed with them in line. It was a nice cut in line too. Gotta love the nice line cut. And so when we get in, like they go to the bar, I run into the bathroom, and by the time I get out, they're like walking down, or whatever the exact times. They walk down to like the front as close as they could to the stage, and in the center, which is where I was going to go anywhere. That's where I always go, front and center. Maybe I have to like turn a little bit because I want view of the guitar player. And so it's almost not quite an hour before the show is about to start. But it gets crowded, so you want to get your spot quick. And so we're talking for a little bit, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny I was like, oh, why don't you take our selfie, talking to my son's mom, why don't you take our selfie and send it to Michael? And she's like, no way. And then she's like, okay, get behind me. And so she's like making this surprise face, and I'm making like a hang loose sign and open my mouth, smiling kind of thing. So it was like, did I mention surreal? I think like, and so we were like talking a little bit, and she sent that picture to our son, and I guess he responded, but she wouldn't show me what the response was. And it was cool. We were like by each other, and then like as the concert went on, they kind of went not too far away from us, and I don't think it was even intentional. I'm probably just like getting like nudged and looking for like a better view and this kind of stuff. And it wasn't like we were with them. It was just like whatever. So if I'm saying like that she's the worst thing that's ever happened to me, I mean, besides my son giving me what's tied for the best. So like, what was going on at the concert? Why didn't I cuss her out? Why didn't she cuss me out? Why wasn't there some big drama? Well, there's a lot of processing that gets done over the years, and just we see things differently. I mean, I know I have facts on my side that are just undisputable, but maybe she has some facts too. And I'm not trying to make myself out to be perfect or anything, but what I'm getting to is why was that interaction pleasant? A high, a high five. And she initiates the high five, and then a hug, and talking a little bit. And so during the concert, like, so they were like right in front of us. And like, once the concert starts, we're not talking or anything. We're just blown away right away from this music. This musicianship is just high level stuff. And as they kind of like naturally drifted away a little bit to get a better view, or whatever reason they were walking or slowly getting farther, which was just at the most like maybe 10 feet at the most away from us, I found myself like looking over towards her, um, kind of like watch her back, I guess, a little bit. Like it was like cool people at this concert. I mean, it's like there was nothing. It's not like a bunch of. I mean, it's like a bunch of kind of like hippies and like kind of a thing. That's kind of scenic attract. So everybody was just real cool. It was a really cool crowd. It was one of the best crowds. It was just a really great crowd. Sometimes people in the crowd can really ruin it. But I found myself kind of like watching her back, like, oh, there's this guy over there. Is he cool or not? Is he going to mess with her? Like, not that if she wanted to talk to some dude that it's any of my business, but if just kind of like watching her back, like making sure nothing happens that she doesn't want to happen. And nothing like that was even happening. And then I tell my buddy, I was like, just in case I forget, um, make sure we walk them to their car when we leave, when the show's over. And he's like, oh, yeah, of course, yeah. And uh, so the show ends. Awesome show. And so they start walking out. There are a few people ahead of us as we walk out. And I get up to her and I was like, oh, we're going to walk you to your car. It's like, are you driving now? Are you leaving now? And because it's kind of like in this bar district, so I didn't know if they were going to hang out somewhere else. So I asked if they was going to her car, and she said yes. I was like, okay, well, we're going to walk you to your car. She's like, no, we're just in the garage right across the street. And she's like, just kind of like insisted that she didn't need to, and it is right across the way. So it's not like dangerous like it would be. Like sometimes you park like in front of somebody's house down a block or two, and it's different. But I found myself to be like still protective of her. And it wasn't like I'm like watching all the girls there to make sure no guys mess with any girls that don't want it. It was just like just this natural thing. It was just a natural thing. It wasn't even it was something I caught myself doing after I looked over a few times and like, wait, what am I doing? Oh, okay. I still, yeah, whatever. I still like care. Not like, hey, maybe we can work it out and get back together, care. But maybe we can make things better. Ultimately, to like hang out with my son again, and he knows I'm trying. She knows I'm trying. Everybody knows I'm trying. And it wasn't like I did anything to deserve this anyway. He had some incorrect information given to him, and well, whatever. I described it a little bit a few shows ago. I'm not going to get into it now. This is all kind of like getting up to my kind of like setting the table a little bit for like this greater story, greater theme. So that was I read the songs "Built to Last" and "Foolish Heart." So I'll try to tie this all in. It's all somewhat connected. There was there was this woman that I definitely don't want to give out her name or anything or try to give out how I know her, but let's just say we got into contact with each other, and we had an idea for this kind of like business thing. I'm not going to get any more specific than that. Just this kind of business thing. I'm always like looking into these different things to do. I'm always uh, I'm always looking for something to add to my income, add to my whatever it is I'm doing. I'm looking for interesting opportunities. And so her and I, under no, so we talked on the phone for a little bit about this business thing. And then we decided to she was, how do I say? Okay, yeah, I can do it. I just want to I want to make sure I respect, like, not telling who she is. So I was like, okay, we could meet for dinner. I don't know if I asked or she asked or brought it up first. Maybe it was me. I said, like, we were talking about getting together, and I was like, oh, do you like Thai food? That's what happened. And she said yes. And I was like, well, uh, she told me where she was going to be, and then I found a couple places that were near there, and so she picked this one. We met at this Thai place to talk about the business thing. Nothing like a date, nothing like, it was just to talk about this business thing. And but she's a woman. We're about the same age. I'm a man. I pretty sure she's single. I am, and so even though it's just a business thing, there's still that man, woman, same age, single. Uh, there's at least some sort of hint of a possibility, however faint, that something else could happen. Although that wasn't our intention. And so started getting into like what we're getting, and she's like, oh, I'm a vegetarian. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm a vegan. She's like, well, actually, I'm a vegan too. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she said sometimes, like, she'll occasionally eat cheese, but she doesn't really like to. Um, and so then uh, we finish up the dinner, and I was like, oh, there's a park not too far from here. Do you want to go walk around? And she's like, sure. And then she's like looking at her clock. She's like, well, I need to get back by this time. Do you want to just walk around here? And so we walked around this neighborhood by the restaurant, and we were having, it was a pretty personal conversation, and just getting to know each other. And we were walking around for, I don't know, half hour or so, maybe. And maybe a little more, I don't, somewhere in there. And so we leave, and then, how should I say? We had a couple like texts about this business thing, and then um, we were kind of going back and forth. And then she said something like, "I don't want to. I don't mean to be rude, but I don't want to keep texting. I want to. I don't want to spend so much time on my phone." I was like, "Oh, okay." I thought that was kind of a strange way to end it, because it seemed like the conversation was almost over anyway. But like, okay, no big deal. It wasn't. I didn't feel like either one of us. I didn't feel like I was like dragging it on or anything, and it was nothing like too personal or anything. It was just this stuff. And she sends me this message a couple days later, next day, a couple days later, that said she felt really bad because she ordered a cheese pizza, and she didn't want to tell other people about it because she didn't want to make non-vegans feel bad. She thought that because of these conversations that we've had before, like, so we got into like our philosophy and our thinking, and it was all just like friendly to me. Yeah, she's like attractive and stuff, but it wasn't like was like trying to make anything happen, and not trying to make anything happen. It was just, we were just met, just talking, no real intention of anything. And so this message, she's like, oh, basically like, I'm about the only person that she could tell because I would understand, and she didn't want to make non-vegans feel bad. And so she was like really upset about her decision to order this cheese pizza. And it might sound like kind of crazy to people who are not vegans, but I get it, because it's whatever it is. If you have this a strong belief, and we all do this to some degree, you do something that doesn't fit your ideal self and you feel remorse. So she was feeling some serious remorse, and I understood. And so I'm talking to her about this kind of stuff, and says that she likes what I'm saying about it. It makes her like feel, oh, she feels better about it. Makes her feel better about it, and this and that. She still feels horrible, but she feels better. Like my point of view, it's kind of helpful, and like, oh, this is cool. And I think, well, I guess it was after that conversation, actually, because it continued into the next morning a little bit, and we're both sending like somewhat lengthy messages lengthy for text. And then that's when she sent the message like, I don't want to keep texting. I don't want to spend so much time on the phone. I was like, okay, no problem. And then so like a couple days go by, and I sent her a message. I was like, sorry for the late notice. I know you're probably busy, but I'm going with a buddy to this concert. I told her the concert, and I was like, would you like to go? And she responded like, no. She's like, oh, thanks for the invitation, but I'm busy. And also something like, she thinks that I'm trying to connect more than, or hang out more than she is, or more than, yeah, something like that. And that she feels overwhelmed, and that like she would just like get back with me when like she's ready. And I'm like, what? But I didn't say anything. I just put, oh, I didn't mean to overwhelm. Okay. It's not like I was like obsessed. I didn't ask her out on a day. I was saying, I'm going with a friend to this concert. Do you want to go? I asked a few people if they wanted to go. And to me, it was just like, okay, here's this person who, after like a day or two of not communicating, sends me this message that's very personal. She did something that she regrets, and she wants to talk to me about it. And, connecting in this way. But then, like, somehow says she feels overwhelmed by me, like, asking her to go to the concert. Like, it's the only thing I asked her to do, besides maybe like that first dinner that we were both talking about this business thing. So it's like, I was really confused. But whatever she has going on, I'll respect that. It wasn't like I had like some big thing for her. I thought she was interesting, and it seemed like she thought I was interesting enough to like keep talking to, just like this friendly thing. But so foolish heart was what I was getting at. And even though like I didn't really have any kind of intentions with her, what I found is like when I'm talking to my friend, like, it's no secret that men and women think differently, see things differently. And sometimes when we talk to each other, and then we give our perspective on these events, give our version of events to our friends. These are a lot different. Like the same event, man, woman, they go, something happens, they tell each other what happened, and it's like they weren't even in the same universe. And so, like the thing with my yeah, I'm trying to tie this all in together. It's like there's a lot of these kind of complicated ideas, but the foolish heart thing. Uh, well, I'll just keep telling stories as it, and hopefully this will all kind of. I think people can relate to this. When we have relationships, this is the kind of stuff that happens. It's like one person's like, "What are you talking about?" And like this, what I think is this. I have this person's like opening up to me, and I don't think like, "Oh, whoa, this is getting too much." Like, okay, here's what I think, and you want to go to a concert? This is too much. She thinks that's too much. I don't know. But so as I was reading like Built to Last or Foolish Heart, I guess what it can be really hard to understand like why we get in these situations, and we can't help but wonder, is there some sort of cosmic reason? Is there some sort of universal cosmic authority that's like, here's what you need to learn about? It's not like it's like, here's this book of like, okay, so when I was 21 years old, or what, so like 20, when I met my son's mom. My son was born when I was 21, almost 22. Whatever. Um, so it's like, okay, here's all these like lessons. So you just get a book. So sometimes you can get a book to learn stuff, but sometimes you get a person to learn stuff. And there are these different things. People see things so differently. And like there's this particular ex of mine. She's I don't think she would mind her identity being known. I'm not going to say her name, but if I say things that are more likely to let people figure it out, then I don't think she really cares. Uh, but she has talked to me even just today about like what she wants to do. Like maybe not real happy in her regular job, even though she makes a lot of money, and sometimes she feels fulfilled with it, but most of the time, a lot of the time is not. Things happen, and she's, I guess, has this like spiritual transformation going on that's been going on for a long time. I'd say she's a pretty spiritual person, and so she's wanting to figure out what can she do that more suits her ideal self. And so we're talking through this. I'm telling her about like seeing my son's mom and like all this kind of stuff. And so even though we broke up, however long ago it was, like sometimes we go for quite a while without texting, but she's somebody that like she likes to dig deep into the consciousness. She likes to dig deep into the thinking. And I like that too. And so even though we're not like when we're talking, it's not like, oh, maybe things can work out or between us. It's not like that. It's more like just exploring these thoughts and having someone to like explore these thoughts with. It's not easy to find. Or yeah. So we were talking about what she wants to do. She's not quite sure. And, maybe there's some kind of thing that I asked her, like, well, because she's talking about, like, she wants like a community thing. She wants to be around more people that are thinking and doing like her, like um, uh, people that are more, I guess, more spiritual, more conscious, loving, rather than like the harder, colder, corporate kinds of things that she has going on. So I think about, like the song "Built to Last," and I think it kind of sums up things pretty well. Um, and she talks about like being alone. And I'm like reading this other book called Grandfather by Tom Brown Jr. And Grandfather was this Apache, kind of like the last of his kind. He was this expert tracker, could communicate with the spirits, stones, nature. And that's who Tom Brown Jr. learned from. And as Grandfather was growing up, they started calling him Grandfather even when I think he was in his either late teens or early 20s. They started calling him Grandfather, which pretty much just means like uh, someone with a lot of wisdom. And they kept telling him to go off on his own, go be alone. So then he's out and he's by himself, and he has these struggles. And he's hearing the spirits, he's hearing drumming, and he goes to find the drummer, and there's no drummer there. But he heard the drumming, chanting. He hears the chanting, but there's no one chanting. And he's just by himself. And so that's kind of the way she was telling me she feels, like by herself. And I feel pretty by myself a lot of the times too. And I think oftentimes, when people choose this like spiritual path, you're given these challenges that are extreme. So I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm just a couple of days short of 7 years. No drinking. I used to smoke weed. I haven't done that. No drinking, no smoking, 7 years. And it's like so what's this, a social thing to do like Friday, Saturday night? What do people do? Well, go out to the bars, go downtown, go to that other cool part of town, go to whatever part of town where there's a bar. What's at the bar? A bunch of people. What are they doing? They're drinking. They go outside to smoke, or if there's like cigarettes anyway, and you can smoke whatever else you want wherever else, I guess. But it's this social thing. And like on what's interesting, like I'm on this dating app. I hardly pay any attention to it anymore, but it's called Bumble. And it's like the one where if you match up, swipe left, right, you match up with somebody, the woman has to send the first message. But in the biographies, drinking, the answer is like no, socially, often, something like that. And socially, think about that. If someone only drinks socially, why? What would happen if they didn't? If you're, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, let's think about this for a second. So, what do you think if someone says they just drink socially? Why are they drinking socially? Because they want to be what? Accepted? Is that why people drink socially? Or just when they're in social environments, they just like to have fun. Everybody's drinking and they just want to have a good time. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Just because I don't do it doesn't mean I think there's something really wrong with it for other people. I do think for myself, if I want to get to the highest level that I can't drink, can't do anything like that. I have to be that strict with myself. It's a very narrow path, what I'm talking about for myself. And it gets more narrow. It's more and more narrow. So why else would somebody just drink socially? And so on this dating app, I'm flipping through, and so many of the biographies and these pictures of these women, they have a glass of alcohol in their hands. What other kinds of beverages do you think are in these pictures? Do you think there's a lot of women drinking a glass of water, and they have a picture of themselves drinking a glass of water? What about Coke or orange juice, lemonade? How many of those do you think there are? Versus a big margarita, drinking a beer at a concert, big concert beer, taking shots. We're out having fun. We're out being social and drinking. And yeah, I'm not saying there's something wrong with being out social and drinking. But maybe there is if you think there is. If you don't think there is, then there's not. I think there is for me. I don't do it, but I'm not looking at other people like, you poor souls are all doing something bad. It's like people are just doing their thing. What was I talking about? Built to last. Foolish heart. Well, without me digging too much more into those songs, did I dig into them at all besides reading them? What do you have in your life that's like that? So have you given your love to a foolish heart? Have you been a foolish heart? There's something else I wanted to read in here. I just got this Grateful Dead lyric book back from the library. This relates to the ex of mine, and that I was just talking about wanting to do something that more suits her higher purpose. And my own. My time coming any day. Don't worry about me, no. Been so long I felt this way. Ain't in no hurry, no. Rainbows end down that highway where ocean breezes blow. My time coming, voices saying, they tell me where to go. Don't worry about me, no, no. Don't worry about me, no. And I'm in no hurry, no, no, no. I know where to go. California, preaching on the burning shore. California, I'll be knocking on the golden door. Like an angel, standing in a shaft of light, rising up to paradise. I know I'm gonna shine. My time coming any day, don't worry about me, no. It's gonna be just like they say, them voices tell me so. Seems so long I felt this way, and time sure passing slow. Still I know I lead the way, they tell me where I go. Don't worry about me, no, no. Don't worry about me, no. And I'm in no hurry, no, no, no. I know where to go. California, a prophet on the burning shore. California, I'll be knocking on the golden door, like an angel standing in a shaft of light, rising up to paradise. I know I'm gonna shine. You've all been asleep. You would not believe me. Them voices tell me you will soon receive me. We're standing on the beach. The sea will part for me. Fire burning, fire wheel burning in the air. And you will follow me. And we will ride to glory way up the middle of the air. And I'll call down thunder and speak the same. And my word fills the sky with flame. And might and glory gonna be my name. And men gonna light my way. My time coming any day. Don't worry about me, no. It's gonna be just like they say. Them voices tell me so. Seems so long I felt this way, and time sure passing slow. My time coming any day. Don't worry about me, no. Don't worry about me. By words by John Barlow, music by Bob Weir, and you don't hear the music when I'm just talking it to you. But that's what it says. So remember I was talking about grandfather and they're sending him out and he's hearing the voices of the spirits, and he's hearing the chanting and he's hearing the drumming. This ex of mine, she has like this part of her soul or whatever, spirit, whatever, is calling her to do something else. Yes, you can make over 6 figures a year, big bonuses. You can buy almost anything you want. And it's not what you want. And there is, be able to support the kids well, get good education, give them a good start. So sometimes we sacrifice what we want to do to give our kids what they want. But then it's a spiritual quest. So yes, I have my own business. I'm a strength and conditioning instructor. I do what I wanted to do. I have clients. I have my own place. I have an awesome partner in the business, and it's like and I still work at a factory too. I work from 5 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon, and then I start with my clients in the afternoons and evenings. There will be a time when I'm not going to the factory. I don't know when that will be. When my alarm clock goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning, do you think I'm real excited about going to there? No, I'm not. I appreciate the job. It does what I need it to do. Yes, I make money. The gym is profitable. We've only been there. It was profitable right away. Okay, so it's not like I took on some debt to open this gym. When I went from being an independent contractor at other gyms to opening my own, it was profitable right away. Even like the first month, it was profitable. Barely profitable the first month, but it was profitable. And then starting the second month, it's better than what I had before. Okay. So, but I still go to this factory. There's reasons why. It's nice and stable. It does what I need to do. The pay is decent. The people are pretty cool. It's not such a hard job. It's not my passion, but there's like that So it's not like my spirit or soul or whatever, like higher calling is to get into running these machines. But for whatever reasons, whether it was my jujitsu teacher says that your karma is your thinking. So you can think, oh, I have bad karma. I have these bad things happen to me. Look at me. I'm stuck in this job. Really? Is that your karma that has you stuck in that job? Like 1,000 years ago, you did something bad and now you have to work somewhere you don't want to? Or was it because you made these bad decisions or less than optimal decisions? So your thinking is your karma. Your karma is your thinking. Your karma is your thinking. It took me a while to understand that. And my jiu-jitsu teacher is the only one that I've heard say that, besides me, repeating his words. So I leave for work, and I like to be walking out my door by 4:30. And what do you think when I hit that red light? The red light is terrible. I mean, I'll cuss at it sometimes. You gotta be fucking kidding me. A red light? What the hell? I mean, a red light. Can you? I mean, a red light, and then it turns green a minute later. And after a while, there's another red light. What? Oh my God! And it's like, can you believe that this light is red? I mean, it's crazy, right? Even though I know better, but it's like 4:30. I'm trying to get it takes me about 25 minutes to get to work. And so I can tell by my clock, I'm usually running on time. I get there a few minutes early, get clocked in. It's not a problem, but still, I didn't want to wake up at 4. But in another way, I did, because I don't want to lose my job. So if you don't want to lose your job, then you wake up at 4, you get there. And but you see what I mean? It's like, even though I like know better, sometimes I'll still cuss at the red light. And it's like what my ex was talking about. She's like, well, why can't we just like do what we want? And she knows the answers to this stuff, that we're just letting these thoughts out, thinking like, why can't we just do what we love? And she doesn't like this concept of money. Like, money keeps us from doing what we love. And so I'm talking about these like spiritual strengths that we get, this resilience from just not having our way. Yeah, go to a job. I'm not real thrilled about it. That doesn't happen when I go to the gym. I live less than 10 minutes away from my gym. If I hit a red light, it doesn't bother me. I don't remember ever cussing at a red light when I'm on my way to work with clients, or to do my own workout, or if I'm going anywhere, maybe except that I don't want to go, or I'd prefer not to go, or like I feel somehow that I shouldn't have to. Maybe that's it. That's part of it. There could be exceptions to that, but let's look into that. And so, even though I would hate to admit it, am I admitting it now? Somehow think I'm above this factory job, that I should just be doing only what I want, and I should just have what I want because I'm so great. One goal that I had, and I do feel lucky to have my regular job, actually, most of the time. It's like a balance. But like, one goal that I had for this podcast was I wanted it to be profitable in a year. That was the goal that I made. it doesn't cost me very much to do the show, but I want it to be profitable in a year, and I'm not quite there. I make not quite half as much as what it costs, which isn't hardly anything. But a year goes by and I wasn't profitable. There's things that I could have done. I could like pay for advertising. I could pay to get it out more, invest, and then try to get and then get the money back, because pay to increase the awareness of the show and stuff. And then once you reach a certain level, you can start getting paid advertising, like kind of automatically. You have to like sign up for it and stuff, but you start getting advertising once you hit this certain amount, and on YouTube videos. And then Patreon, people can, if they want to contribute, you can do so for as little as $1 per month. Same thing is on Podbean. It's an app. But so it's like, oh, I wasn't profitable. I missed that goal. I'm listening to Joe Rogan. He has the biggest podcast on the planet. He said it took him years to become profitable. And he was already kind of famous when he started it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't just start this podcast just for the money. And there's other things that I could do to make it more profitable, to increase the views. Really, all I have to do is more shows. But I try not to just do shows that are just like filler. I like doing these, like it's Sunday night. I like doing shows Sunday nights. It's dark out. Let the day happen, and if I have guests and stuff, I'll have. It's been a while since I've had a guest. I have a couple of them planned in the somewhat near future. But where was I? Oh, making the show profitable. So if I did a show like every day, the show would end up being profitable probably within a couple months. I know that I could do that. The numbers show that. And that's what the analytics say. It would have to be like maybe 5 days a week or something at the current thing. Maybe even less, because it like more than like doubles if you do two, it more than doubles. And then when there's guests, those shows usually get even more, and then it's a whole thing. But anyways, I know how to make it profitable sooner than later, but I don't want to do shows that are just like filler. And maybe sometimes I do end up kind of just blabbing, but I think I am kind of getting better at the craft of podcasting. This is my 116th episode, I think it is. I get good feedback about it. It kind of surprises me sometimes. Well, it's not like that surprises me. It's like it's encouraging. I mean, I can see, it doesn't surprise me because I can see the analytics. I know people are listening all over the world. I mean, it's crazy to see the map. But like when I have, like that buddy of mine said that he heard the show, and which that doesn't surprise me very much because I know he listens. But he said like another buddy of his just told him that he was listening. It's like, cool. And I met this guy once, but it was that one particular show I was talking about that I kept getting these messages from people that heard it, and anyways. Let my inspiration flow in token rhyme, suggesting rhythm that will not forsake me till my tale is told and done. While the fire lights aglow, strange shadows from the flames will grow, till things we've never seen will seem familiar. Shadows of a sailor forming, winds both foul and fair all swarm. Down in Carlisle, he loved a lady many years ago. Here beside him stands a man, a soldier from the looks of him, who came through many fights but lost at love. While the storyteller speaks, a door within the fire creaks, suddenly flies open, and a girl is standing there. Eyes alight with glowing hair, all that fancy paints as fair. She takes her fan and throws it in the lion's den. Which of you to gain me tell will risk uncertain pains of hell? I will not forgive you if you will not take the chance. The sailor gave at least a try, the soldier being much too wise. Strategy was his strength, and not disaster. The sailor coming out again, the lady fairly leapt at him. That's how it stands today. You decide if he was wise. The storyteller makes no choice. Soon you will not hear his voice. His job is to shed light and not to master. Since the end is never told, we pay the teller off in gold in hopes he will come back, but he cannot be bought or sold. Terrapin Station. Inspiration move me brightly. Light the song with sense and color. Hold away despair. More than this I will not ask. Faced with mysteries dark and vast, statements just seem vain at last. Some rise, some fall, some climb to get to Terrapin. Counting stars by candlelight, all are dim but one is bright. The spiral light of Venus, rising first and shining best. From the northwest corner of a brand new crescent moon, crickets and cicadas sing a rare and different tune. Terrapin Station. In the shadow of the moon, Terrapin Station, and I know we'll be there soon. Terrapin. I can't figure out Terrapin, if it's the end or beginning. Terrapin. But the train's put its brakes on, and the whistle is screaming. Terrapin. At a siding. While you were gone, those spaces filled with darkness, the obvious was hidden with nothing to believe in. The compass always points to Terrapin. Soul and wings of fortune beat like rain. You're back in Terrapin for good or ill again, for good or ill again. Words by Robert Hunter, music by Jerry Garcia. Do you write your thoughts out? When you have dreams, you write them down. Maybe these are the ones that you have when you're asleep. Maybe the ones you have when you're awake. You know, there's the ones that play these mediums, these like these fortune tellers, these psychics. Do you believe in psychics? I think people can't have psychic things happen. I've had them happen myself. But I'm not going to charge somebody to do a psychic phone call for them or read their palms, I'm not going to pay somebody else to do that either. But I believe people can have these experiences, and maybe some people can tune in better. But there is this kind of formula to use. Like, there was this I forget who was telling me about it, but she was in her. Was it like? I think I remember, but I could be wrong. I remember the story though. So she was in this college lecture room, and they were going to have a psychic in that day. And they said, like, so the psychic comes in. They say, well, I did a reading on everyone, and your fortunes, your readings are under your chairs. And so people like reach under their chairs and they're reading their fortunes. And this one woman in the class, I guess she starts crying, and she's like, starts spilling her guts about these very personal things that happen. She's crying. She can't believe how great this psychic is. And then it got a little awkward because everybody got the same piece of paper. You know, like some people are believers, some people not, some people are, but what this, so it was like, well, they're all the same. So you could do this like psychic reading for everybody. I feel like you're thinking of making some kind of a change. Like, is there somebody like new in your life? Or are you thinking about making a career change? Or, you know, you can do these like readings that are like really generic. But maybe they do some good too. Maybe people like do believe in that. Maybe it helps people to make the decisions that they should make. Or maybe it helps to make decisions that they shouldn't make. Hell, I guess it could go both ways. So, foolish heart, built to last. I didn't even realize I did this, but I just turned it to one of my favorite songs. I have a lot of favorite songs. Something that I hadn't done until just today. I've had this playlist for years, but if you have Spotify, I have a playlist that I play for my classes, and it's called 5 Elements, like the numeral 5, and then elements. And it's like over 400 and some songs, and they're what I use for my training sessions. And so, like, there might be some Sanskrit mantras. There are Sanskrit mantras, but then there's like stuff from like the Rocky soundtrack and Grateful Dead and Pink Floyd and Joe Bonamassa, Johnny Lang, native drumming. It's like native from Africa, native from America. There's songs in different languages, and all kinds of music from all over the world if you want to check it out, if you ever wonder. We'll see how related this one is. Wharf Rat. Old man down, way down, down by the docks of the city, blind and dirty, asked me for a dime for a cup of coffee. I got no dime, but I got some time to hear his story. My name is August West, and I love my pearly baker best, more than my wine, more than my wine, more than my maker, though he is no friend of mine. Everyone said I'd come to no good. I knew I would. Pearly believed them. Half of my life I spent doing time for some other fucker's crime. Other half found me stumbling around, drunk on burgundy wine. But I'll get back on my feet someday, the good Lord willing, if he says I may. I know that the life I'm living's no good. I'll get a new start, live the life I should. I'll get up and fly away. I'll get up and fly away, fly away. Pearlie's been true, true to me, true to my dying day, he said. I said to him, I'm sure she's been. I said to him, I'm sure she's been true to you. I got up and wandered downtown, nowhere to go, but just to hang around. I got a girl named Bonnie Lee. I know that girl's been true to me. I know she's been. I'm sure she's been true to me. Words by Robert Hunter. Music by Jerry Garcia. All right, some of these ideas, this idea that just popped into my mind is like sometimes when I'm trying to explain like what I mean when I'm reading someone else's song. So that's a Grateful Dead song. I'm reading it for a reason. I love that song. Those other songs, I love pretty much all the Grateful Dead songs, but some of them a lot more than others. But sometimes I don't have a good, I can't quite articulate what I'm trying to say. I can kind of like try to tie these stories together. But I'm also counting on the audience to fill in some gaps. So do you fill in the gaps yourself? You know, I'm trying to get these thoughts across. And so maybe when I read a poem, when I read a song, one of you understands it one way, someone else understands it another. I'm trying to explain it a different way. It's pretty cool. We don't need to see everything the same way, do we? So sometimes when I'm, like I was telling my buddy, I was talking about how, like he was giving me some feedback on a show, told me about his friend listening. So I went back to re-listen to the show. And I didn't hear all of it yet because I did it a couple times when I was driving to a couple places. And he's like, oh, and I told him I started listening to it. He's like, oh, you listen to yourself? And I was like, yeah, sometimes because I'm working on this, the craft of this. And so, little insider secret here, one of the things that I figured out was to talk to the audience, ask you questions. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. You know, when I'm asking you, how do you feel when I read that song? What's it remind you of? I'm talking to you. The thousands of people that could be listening over months and days and years and whatever. 10 years from now, somebody listens to this. Yes, you. When I'm re-listening to this myself, I'm talking to you too, me. So once I realized that, I was like, oh, it's better to talk to the audience, keep people engaged so that they can, that's what something I figured out. And what I was just thinking was I can leave some things like open-ended, right? I can count on the audience being thoughtful and smart. I can count on that. Can't I? Because I don't think anybody's going to listen. I don't think any people are listening to me because I'm sort of like spiritual authority or anything. But I'm reading spiritual books. I'm reading poems. I'm reading through songs, and I'm talking about spiritual things, real life things. I give very personal details on this show that I think people can relate to. People can relate to. Not that I think they can. I know they can. So maybe I can just leave some things more open-ended. Just say it. Let's see. Let's read one more thing. I'm going to pick it randomly from Solzhenitsyn. Or well, let's see. Maybe I want to do a. What do I want to do here? I think, well, sorry. Oh. I don't know if I read that one or not. The duckling. A little yellow duckling, flopping comically on its white belly in the wet grass and scarcely able to stand on its thin, feeble legs, runs in front of me and quacks. Where's my mommy? Where's my family? He has no mommy because he has been fostered by a hen. Duck eggs were put in her nest. She sat on them and hatched them with her own. To shelter them from bad weather, their home, an upturned basket without a bottom, had been moved into a shed and covered with sacking. They are all in there, but this one is lost. Come on then, little thing, let me take you in my hand. What keeps it alive? It weighs nothing. Its little black eyes are like beads. Its feet are like sparrow's feet. The slightest squeeze, and it would be no more. Yet it is warm with life. Its little beak is pale pink and slightly splayed like a manicured fingernail. Its feet are already webbed. There is yellow among its feathers, and its downy wings are starting to protrude. Its personality already sets it apart from its foster brothers. And we men will soon be flying to Venus. If we all pooled our efforts, we could plow up the whole world in 20 minutes. Yet with all our atomic might, we shall never, never, never be able to make this feeble speck of a yellow duckling in a test tube. Even if we were given the feathers and bones, we could never put such a creature together. It's Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Yeah, he went to prison for like 20 years for speaking out against Stalin. Just told the truth. One more thing and I'll wrap it up. And I never read that one before. Some of these things I'm reading for the first time on the show. A Journey Along the Oka. I haven't read this. Traveling along country roads in central Russia, you begin to understand why the Russian countryside has such a soothing effect. It is because of its churches. They rise over ridge and hillside, descending towards wide rivers like red and white princesses, towering above the thatch and wooden huts of everyday life with their slender carved and fretted belfries. From far away they greet each other. From distant unseen villages they rise toward the same sky. Wherever you may wander, over field or pasture, many miles from any homestead, you are never alone. Above the wall of trees, above the hayricks, even above the curve of the earth itself, The dome of a belfry is always beckoning to you from Borky, Levetsky, Lubici, or Gavrilovsko. Terrible pronouncing those, I'm sure. But as soon as you enter a village, you realize that the churches which welcome you from afar are no longer living. Their crosses have long since been bent or broken off. The dome with its peeling paint reveals its rusty rib cage. Weeds grow on the roofs and in the cracks of the walls. The cemetery is hardly ever cared for, its crosses knocked over and its graves ransacked. The icons behind the altar have faded from a decade of rain and are scrawled with obscene graffiti. In the porch, there are barrels of salt and a tractor is swinging round towards them, or a lorry is backing up to the vestry door to collect some sacks. In one church, machine tools are humming away. Another stands silent, simply locked up. Others have been turned into clubs where propaganda beatings are held. We will all achieve high yields of milk, or films shown, poem about the sea, the great adventure. People have always been selfish and often evil, but the Angelus used to toll, and its echo would float over village, field, and wood. It reminded man that he must abandon his trivial earthly cares and give up 1 hour of his thoughts to life eternal. The tolling of the eventide bell, which now survives for us only in a popular song, raised man above the level of a beast. Our ancestors put their best into these stones and these belfries, all their knowledge and all their faith. Come on, Vitka. Buck up and stop feeling sorry for yourself. The film starts at 6 and the dance is at 8. Sometimes I just trust. No, I read a lot of these random things. Like, so today I picked out all but one of those Grateful Dead songs before the show started. And I just opened it up to the Solzhenitsyn. On some shows, I make like a lot of notes. And on some, I don't make any notes. And it's not that I'm not prepared. I'm preparing, like I'm thinking about it all the time. And then I wait until I think it's right to do. I set it up. I burn some incense. I burn sage. I make my coffee. And what I do, I use a French press for the coffee. And so, like, while it's steeping or whatever, getting stronger in the pot before I pour it, I'm getting the incense going. That takes a few minutes, and I get the windows closed if they're open, and get everything ready. And I pour my coffee, and then I take a drink of coffee, and when I put it down, then I'm ready. And I just kind of like trust that it'll work. Read some random thing from the Tao, read some ancient poem, read some not so ancient poem, song. I just like trust that it'll work. You know what I mean? Do you have that where you just like, maybe you play guitar, or maybe you do something, maybe it's as simple as like taking your kids out to play. Do you have every step of that figured out? When you go to hang out with your friends, do you have a list of things to talk about, a list of things to do? Okay, I'm going to go hang out with Joey. The first thing we're going to do is talk about this. And then, number 2. Oh, we skipped number 4. Get back to this. We're supposed to climb a tree now. Now we're supposed to get down from the tree, and we're supposed to talk about this. No, you just go, and it just happens. It's alive, and it's going. So I get a lot of good feedback from the show, and I appreciate people tuning in. Um, it helps to tell people about the show, share it. You can feel free to share it however you want. See you next time.